Before we start, a quick reminder. This content is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional therapy. With that clarification, we invite you to join our conversation. Welcome back to The Hidden Side of Deception. Today, we're diving into a topic that is often misunderstood and oversimplified, the true definition of infidelity. Because, let's be honest, popular culture tends to focus only on the physical act. But what about all the other aspects?
That's right, Hannah. This is a crucial conversation because limiting infidelity to just a sexual act is like looking at the tip of an iceberg. There's an entire world of behaviors and dynamics beneath the surface that can be just as damaging to a relationship, if not more so. Today, we want to unpack those layers.
Let's start with emotional infidelity. For many people, this term might sound abstract. How would you define it, and what are some of the signs that it's happening?
At its core, emotional infidelity involves establishing a deep, significant connection with someone outside of your primary relationship, a connection that starts to take the place of the intimacy you should be sharing with your partner. It manifests through sharing deep personal details, dreams, insecurities, and even complaints about your current relationship with this other person. The signs can be subtle at first, spending more and more time communicating with someone new, being secretive about those interactions, deleting messages, using code names, idealizing this other person, and unfavorably comparing them to your partner.
That's an interesting way to put it. I think the lines can get blurry with a close friendship. How do we distinguish a close friendship from a budding emotional affair?
That's a very good question, and a common point of confusion for many. The key is often found in the nature of the intimacy and the level of emotional exclusivity. In a healthy friendship, transparency with your partner is natural. There's no need to hide conversations or downplay the relationship. In emotional infidelity, however, there's a shroud of secrecy, and you're often seeking emotional support from this other person that you've stopped seeking from your partner. There's also usually a component of idealization and, at times, fantasies about a potential romantic relationship.
The secrecy you mentioned is a powerful indicator. When you feel the need to hide something important about another person from your partner, a line has probably already crossed. Let's move on to digital or cyber infidelity, which has exploded with technology. What are its defining characteristics?
Cyber infidelity covers a wide range of behaviors in the virtual world, from sexting and exchanging sexually explicit messages with non-partners, to using dating apps or platforms to seek new connections, and even creating fake profiles with the intent to deceive. What makes it unique is that even without physical contact, the intention to seek a romantic or sexual connection outside of the partnership is present, and the emotional and time investment can be substantial. The anonymity of the virtual world can also lower inhibitions, making behaviors more likely to occur than they would in real life.
That's so true. The accessibility of these platforms makes temptation an ever-present force. Do you think the lack of physical contact makes cyber infidelity any less damaging than physical or emotional infidelity?
Not necessarily. The psychological impact can be just as devastating. The deceived person can feel the same betrayal, the same breach of trust. It can lead to feelings of insecurity and inadequacy when they see their partner seeking intimacy or excitement elsewhere, even if it's virtual. What's more, the persistent nature of digital interactions, saved messages, active profiles, can keep the wound open and make recovery more difficult.
So, we're seeing that infidelity goes way beyond a simple sexual act. Could we outline some key differences and similarities between these three types: physical, emotional, and cyber?
Absolutely. Physical infidelity is the most tangible, traditionally seen as the ultimate betrayal due to the sexual aspect. Emotional infidelity focuses on intimate connection and emotional support outside the partnership. Cyber infidelity takes place in a virtual space, but can have both emotional and sexual components. The fundamental similarity is the breach of the agreement of exclusivity and the betrayal of trust. All three cause pain, insecurity, and can profoundly damage a relationship. The main difference is the form the betrayal takes and the type of intimacy shared outside the primary relationship.
And when it comes to the motivations behind each type, do you think there are different patterns? Why might someone be emotionally unfaithful but not physically, or vice versa?
The reasons are incredibly varied and often intertwined. Someone might turn to emotional infidelity because they feel misunderstood or unappreciated in their relationship, seeking validation and connection from someone else. Physical infidelity can sometimes be impulsive, the result of a night out or a moment of attraction, though it can also stem from a deeper dissatisfaction. Cyber infidelity might be driven by curiosity, a desire for novelty, or even an addiction to virtual sex. It's important to remember these are just general patterns. Every case is unique. Often, infidelity in any form is a symptom that something isn't working in the relationship or on an individual level.
You've hit on a key point: infidelity as a symptom. What are some of the most common psychological consequences for everyone involved, both the unfaithful and the deceived?
For the deceived person, the consequences can be devastating. Deep sadness, rage, confusion, humiliation, low self-esteem, anxiety, and even symptoms of post-traumatic stress. They may question their own worth, the reality of their relationship, and have difficulty trusting again. For the unfaithful person, while they may initially feel a sense of excitement or gratification, in the long run they can experience guilt, shame, anxiety about being discovered, internal conflict, and even isolation if they lose the trust of both parties. In either case, mental health is significantly impacted.
It's a very painful picture. Given this reality, how can we approach infidelity, whether we've been cheated on or done the cheating? What are some early warning signs in a relationship, and what communication strategies might help prevent it?
Addressing infidelity is a complex and long process that often requires professional support. For the person who has been cheated on, it's essential to allow yourself to feel and process the pain, seek support from friends, family, or a therapist, and take the time you need to heal. For the unfaithful person, taking responsibility for your actions, showing genuine remorse, and being willing to work on rebuilding trust are crucial steps. As for early warning signs in a relationship, paying attention to changes in communication, less talking, more arguments, or avoidance of important topics, a decrease in physical and emotional intimacy, or an increase in secrecy can all be indicators that something is wrong. Fostering open, honest, and respectful communication where both partners feel safe to express their needs and concerns is one of the best prevention strategies. It's also important to define together what fidelity means in your specific relationship, beyond just the physical.
And this leads us to a question many people ask. After an infidelity, is it really possible to rebuild trust and save the relationship?
The answer isn't simple and depends on many factors: the willingness of both parties to work on the relationship, the honesty and transparency of the person who was unfaithful, the ability of the deceived person to forgive, which doesn't mean forgetting, the willingness to seek professional help, and the depth of the damage caused. It's not an easy road and requires a lot of effort, patience, and commitment from both sides. Some couples manage to come out of the crisis stronger, rebuilding a more authentic and profound connection. Others, despite trying, discover that the damage is irreparable. There is no one-size-fits-all answer.
To wrap up our conversation today, what's your final thought on the importance of redefining infidelity in the modern age, considering all the dimensions we've explored?
I believe it's vital to expand our understanding of infidelity beyond the purely physical. In an increasingly digitally connected world, the boundaries of intimacy have expanded, and with them, the ways in which trust can be broken in a relationship. Acknowledging the validity of the pain caused by emotional and cyber infidelity is crucial for having more honest and healthy relationships. Ultimately, infidelity in any of its forms erodes the very foundation of a partnership: trust, intimacy, and mutual respect. Redefining it allows us to have more meaningful conversations about our boundaries, our needs, and our agreements, thereby seeking to build stronger and more resilient bonds in the complex landscape of modern relationships.
A very valuable reflection indeed. Thank you, Ryan, for this insightful conversation. And to our audience, thank you for joining us on The Hidden Side of Deception. We invite you to continue exploring these topics with us in future episodes. See you next time.